everybody, it's Kenny K. Sorry for the lighting, it's a little bit dark here, I know, a little bit moody, but it's quaint, right? Let's stay quaint. And I wanted to review a movie called Dead and Buried from 1981. It gets a 6.5 on IMDb, and I'm gladly to say it's worth the number. I would suggest even maybe going to 7. It's basically a horror movie that has some slasher elements in there, zombie elements in there, and supernatural voodoo, black magic or shit in there. So a lot of subgenres of the horror movie business. So you've got our main character is the actor's name. I never heard of him. Is James Ferrantino. Is Chief Dan Giles. I think it's pronounced Giles. It's Gilles, but I think they call him Giles. Yeah. And his wife Janet is Janet. He has a wife called Janet Giles. And the movie starts out with this van, this Volkswagen van parking on a scenic, remote secluded piece of beach with a lot of beautiful, nature shots. And this guy's a photographer. He works for a business in New York as a freelance photographer. So he's there getting some pictures for his own collection, and he sees this beautiful woman standing there, a blonde woman, and she starts to ask if he would take some pictures of her, and he said, yes sir, and she's flirting with him. He's taking pictures of her, and then she, you know what, I'm gonna go a step even further, and then she undresses herself, and you see her boobs, and he's like, okay. But then at some point somebody hits him, and a bunch of people, like a dozen people, they start to hit him, and he falls to the ground. They're kicking him and things like that. They're hitting shit out of him, and then they're taking pictures at the same time, and with all these flashes going off, and they're binding him against this pole, and they're putting kerosene on him, and then you have the blonde girl say hello, click, and then put a match on him, and he's burning alive, and you hear him scream, and meanwhile they're taking pictures, and it's fucked up. There are a few fucked up kills in this movie, that for sure. So that's how the movie begins. And then the chief of police, there's only one cop in this entire little, it's a beach community. It's called it's something with bluffs. It's really small. It only has one cop, Sheriff Dan Giles, a secretary, and that's it. And he's there with the truck assistance guy, who is Robert Englund, by the way, and I think it's one of his first roles. It predates Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street. This is 1981. Nightmare on Elm Street's 84, I guess. The first one. But he's there because they apparently found him in the car, and he has to tow the car, and then the chief's there waiting for the coroner, and he's, what the fuck is he? Where the fuck is Dobbs? Dobbs is the coroner, and you see him coming at a slow pace, and this opera music is playing, and then Giles is knocking on his window. It's like doing this, waiting till the song ends, and then he just comes out, this old man, a pompous piece of shit, basically, and he's like, "All right, what else it is?" And then Giles is, where the fuck were you? I'm standing here. For what the hell happened to this man? And then Dobbs says, "It's obvious. He burned to death." Yeah, okay, but why? Who? And this? But this coroner, basically, he's not only the medical coroner who would, establish a situation the cops use to establish the death, what is the cause of death, but also are these also coroners, people who put back bodies, make them pretty for an open casket, things like that? He's also that. And at some point, the guy who's sitting in the burn guy spits, and he's still alive. Fucked up is that, and then he makes this awful scream, and that's the only thing he can do. And he sees one eye opening and this row of teeth, but then he looks fucked up, really fucked up. Now, what happens is, at some point they're doing this investigation. They're going to the photographer's hotel, and he was there for pleasure. He wasn't there for business. But then at some point he's laying there in the hospital, and at some point, and he can't talk, so he can't say who did it because his throat is completely burned. He has one eyeball and just he's a few teeth and an open mouth that he can, but he can't talk like this. Then a nurse comes to his room, and who is the nurse? The blonde girl from the beach. And she basically gives this syringe, puts it, you can see the syringe going in the eye, and it's like this shot, this shot that you say it's no, I don't want, Jesus Christ. So she killed him. The doctor and the chief, they go to this room, and the murderer is already gone. You see this needle poking out of his face. So what happens then the strange thing starts to happen. So at some point, this family that is looking for a hotel, but they lost their way in the mist, because there's always mist in this town. That's the creepy ass thing about this movie. There's always mist in this town. At night there's always mist, and it's weird. It's creepy. Ugh. Atmospheric creepy. And then you've got this mom and dad with their kid. They going to this bar, and they ask they need gas too. Now they say, sure, he'll help you. Here's Toby, the gas the gas station attendant, and he turns around, and it's the fucking photograph. The dude who got burned. He's just now alive again, non-burned, and he's, sure, I want to help you. And he's okay. He's now apparently, so he gave them gas, and then they're looking for a way out, for a hotel or something, but they can't find it. And it's misty, and then they see a house, because they don't see any house with lights on. They see a house with lights on, and then it goes on and off, so they go there. And when they arrive, they can't get in. They just open the door, and then this creepy ass, you can feel like the mist, and there's someone watching them. You can feel it's like almost breathing down on your neck. And what happens is, at some point, somebody opens a door, a closet door in the middle of the house. It says, hello, click, with flash, and they run away, and they see the waitress of the bar with a kitchen knife following them, and you see everybody around the house like zombies against the window, and you see all these cameras going off from everywhere, and they're surrounded. Now they can get the fuck away, but then there's this crazy one still in the back of their car, and then it's just, and I think they get away, but eventually they fly with our car into the bluffs, straight into the ocean, and they drown. So what you learn is basically that almost the entire town are killers. So what you learned is the entire town are killers who use this sadistic method of taking pictures of people who are going to die, even filming it. And at the same time, the people they kill, they come back to life and are doing something completely else, and they're not the photographer person anymore. You know, he's Duddy, the tank station guy. You know, it's somebody else now. Okay, and now more of this shit starts to happen with people getting into this town. The sheriff is clearly over his head. Dobbs, the coroner, multiple kills are happening around town, and Dobbs, the coroner, he doesn't really want to work with the sheriff. He's constantly, you know, he sees bodies as pieces of art, because, like I said, he makes them beautiful again. And even the worst looking bodies, like there's a girl that gets killed in the movie by a stone. It's a creepy shot. It's a hitchhiker who gets picked up in the movie, and this old dude, super, you know, pleasant man, says at some point, in a desolate area, he says, hey, cheese, takes a picture, she gets the hell out, pictures everywhere again, and then she gets smashed in the head, and then a big stone right in front of her face. Her face is mush, so gory. Again, a gory kill. You got a few gory kills in this one too. So not only the creepy mist, the creepy kills with the photographs they're taking and filming the shit, and the flashes, and when you're, you know, and then Dobbs, the sheriff, obviously being way over his head, and it seems like everybody in this town is fucked up and is weird. Nobody really wants to work with the sheriff, but they don't know a thing, but they're still being really friendly like, but it's and Dobbs is the only one who's like, yeah, he's like this pompous asshole again. He's not working with the sheriff. He doesn't really want to give information. Every time if they find somebody's dead, then he says it's clear her face is being smashed in. And then he says, she's a piece of art. I can make her beautiful again. And you know, and he's that kind of way, and eventually Giles is basically on his own. He has a doctor friend, the same hospital where the burn guy was killed, and his wife too. She's a teacher, and she's always coming home. You want some pot roast, and then at some point he goes to her class, and he sees that she is giving the kids lessons about voodoo and the undead, and the fact that the dead can be revived, and that's about a thing about voodoo. And then he eventually asks his wife, "Why are you saying that to the kids? That it's morbid. It's there. It's something new. It's history. It's folklore, basically." And she's like doing that and this, but she's also acting suspicious. And at some point, the doctor. So at some point, the doctor wants to help him, but he's noticing that things are being strange around town. And then there's a moment when Giles hits somebody in the misty area of the town, and the guy lost his arm. And he runs away with his arm. And sorry, my dog is being frustrating. And he runs away with the arm, and John's like, "What the fuck?" And he sees that on the grill there's pieces of skin on. He scrapes that piece of skin and goes to the doctor, and he says the doctor is, "Who did you hit?" I mean, he said, "Oh yeah, last night, just a guy," and he just walked up and ran away with his arm. And he said, "That's not possible." Why? Because this skin is dead skin. 6 months old. And he's like, "What the fuck?" And then the doctor at some point starts to know what's happening, and what happens to the doctor at the point that he knows what's happening. You guessed it. He's gonna be croaked. And pretty fucked up. I'm not gonna spoil all the kills, but I'm gonna spoil the ending. This movie, it's pretty. So before I'm gonna spoil, so I'm gonna give you the positives and the negatives, and then I'm gonna spoil. The positives about this movie are, you've got a creepy ass town, with these people that live there. Although they're acting friendly, they're weirdly creepy. And like I said, you see people who die, come back, and doing other stuff, and are completely fine. And they don't know who their original name was or something, and they, like, yeah. And you've got this, and you feel for the sheriff because nobody wants to work with him. The only guy who wanted to work with him is the doctor, but at some point when he finds out what was happening, he wants to call the sheriff, but he gets killed by the blonde nurse and a few of her cronies. And yeah, and Dobbs, the coroner, is constantly being an asshole, and he's not telling everything. And yeah, and that's the problem. And then it's clearly that he's over his head, but he doesn't have the evidence to really, call for the state troopers or something for the backup. Sit down. Come. Sit down. Sit down. No. She's acting pretty fucking horrendous. Sit down. Come on. Okay, sorry, people. Dogs, right? She's a beautiful dog. She's 14 years old. She's a granny. She's a granny. An Akita. But again, what I wanted to say. So you've got this. Nobody's helping him. He doesn't have. You feel for the guy. You really want him to. But you also have this sense of loneliness. Almost a sense of, okay, you're alone. Nobody's there to help you. You as the viewer know, okay, he's all alone there. Especially when the doctor croaks. He doesn't have anybody you can trust. That gives you a creepy feeling as the audience yourself, right? And there's a lot of, I mean, pretty gory kills. Pretty gory kills, like the needle close-up in the eyeball. The girl that gets her head smashed in. You see the mushed face. The doctor, I'm not gonna spoil how he dies, but it's pretty horrendous. There's one more person that dies, I believe. Yeah, one more person, like a drunk guy who comes from the bar and he gets killed in a gory way. He gets slashed open, completely slashed open by this. In the dark, it's dark outside. He gets slashed open from everyone, and all these flashes hitting him because it's dark. You only see the flashes and the blades coming out. It's a cool shot. You only see the flashes and then the blades, and it's pretty. And the camera angles, it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. The acting is good. You really feel for Sheriff Giles. Is there, is there a negative? No, not really. I'm thinking Dobbs being a pompous asshole, but that's his character, so that you can't call that a negative. It's his character. So there, I'm thinking about a negative in this movie, and no, actually not. It's gotta, and that's why I'm gonna spoil it now. So if you don't want to listen, it's got a really, I can tell you already, it's got a really sad and fucked up ending. So if you don't want to listen, go watch the movie. It's on Daily Motion. It's free on Daily Motion, not in pieces, in a complete, and I think it's on free on YouTube too. I'm not sure of that, but on Daily Motion it's free. I know that. Good quality. Complete version, not in part 1 or 2. No, it's complete. Dead and Buried, 1981. Now, what happens is, okay, so we know dead bodies are coming back. The girl, that's her face is being smushed in. Dobbs is starting to work on her. You see the complete, which is cool. You can see the complete manner how he recreates the face, and it's almost step by step. You can see what he's doing. It's cool. It looks cool. He puts those eyeballs in there. Then when he's done, he's like, pure beautiful. You're beautiful. And he goes away. And you see her coming back up, and okay, and just walking away. Boom. The girl that got her head smashed in. The doctor too. He appears again after he's killed. The thing with him is he stays a doctor, but he doesn't believe Giles anymore. It's not working with Giles anymore. He's like, just I can give you something to sleep, Giles. Sheriff, I can give, it's like that. His wife acting strange. What happens? He wanted to find out. He finds out the guy because it didn't have any information of the photographer guy. And somebody said, yeah, no, that he gets a picture and he shows this to somebody. That's Duddy, the tank station attendant. He shows it to his wife, I guess. And he goes to the tank station and he sees the guy working there. He fill her up, you know, fill her up with gas, and he's like, no, what's your name? Duddy. And he knows his name now because they faxed it through, and he takes a picture, it goes away, he faxes it back, and they say it's the missing photographer dude from New York. Bam, he knows, okay, this isn't normal. Okay, that was the burnt, so he knows that was the burnt guy, but he knows they buried him, so now he wants to go to the graveyard. And this graveyard guy who works there doesn't want to open the case because you need Dobbs' permission, and it's no, I'm the sheriff of this town, you need my permission. Now dig that fucking body up. So they're digging it up, opening the crate, and you see this satchel of clothes, and in the satchel there's a heart in there. That's the only thing that's in the crates. So he goes to Dobbs. Dobbs was waiting for him. He knew what's going on. He knows everything what happens in that town. He's basically the creator of all these people in town. So what he does, we see him getting in there, and he says, he's standing there on his desk waiting for the sheriff, and there's this black and white film being played behind him, and you see his wife having sex with somebody, and and then you see her killing the guy by stabbing him multiple times in the back, and then you see the people in the room taking pictures, and you also see the blonde girl. You see Dobbs in the film, and then Janet is standing there behind him, and he's like, Janet, what did you do? What did you do? And he's like, Dobbs starts to explain, everybody here in town is under my command, under my spell. What? He says, you can call it voodoo, supernatural powers, dark magic. I'll take you to my grave. But Janet here, everyone who gets killed needs a fresh up every week. So basically every person who in that town needs to come back every week because they start to deteriorate, and he needs to freshen them up again. But Janet, one of his first experiments, basically she can start to deteriorate every 3, 4, 5 months or so. He says, my best project. Now Chief is like, he shoots Janet, and she gets hit, and then she's saying, what do you want to eat tonight? The pot roast? He shoots her again, and she keeps saying, so now, okay, you want some potatoes? And then we got to watch a movie, and then, yes, then we can, maybe we can watch that movie, and then in her face, and then she sees what's happening, and she plucks something on her hand, and she's crying, what's happening to me? And then she runs away. Giles, he shoots he shoots Dobbs. He's lying on the ground. You see Dobbs doing something weird. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's going after his wife, and you've got this really sad scene about she's she basically jumped in a pit and she's starting to rub the dirt all over herself. And Dan, Sheriff Giles, Dan, her husband, is there, and she says, "Leave me be, Dan. Leave me be. Please let me die. I love you. I love you forever." So it's really, really awful. He loses his wife. He apparently he lost his wife years ago. She apparently had a car accident, and she died. And it's so and when she's like, and he's helping her being buried, and then you see just her face again, and the last thing she says to him is, "I love you," and he says, "I love you," and then the entire town comes to pay their respects with flowers, and you see all these deteriorations on their fucking faces, and everybody saying it's for the better, Dan, it's for the best, and he's going like this, and he's like he's flipping out. Giles, basically Sheriff Giles, he's going back to Dobbs' office, and then we see Dobbs standing there back up again, wounds gone. You see his belly, so you don't see a wound anymore. And then we see the film playing, and then we see the man who Janet killed is Giles. Fucking Giles. Dan, her husband. She was having sex with her husband, and she killed her husband. And then we see Giles, his hands, he's completely going, "No!" And we see his hands deteriorating. And then you hear in the background saying, there, Sheriff. Let me patch you up again." And then the movie ends. How fucked up is that? So he was a fucking zombie person all along. All along. Married with a zombie person who killed him. Then, but for some reason, Janet knew about Dobbs, but he didn't know about Dobbs. So for some how he, I mean, I'm guessing she didn't kill him long ago. I'm guessing he died a few weeks ago. When we see the movie, maybe he died the day after, and he's there again, but he's not conscious, but he still has the role of sheriff. And it's like he still has that hard ass, he's a hard ass sheriff, but he's a guy who you respect because he's the guy who has to clean everything up there, and this is the only guy in the entire town, you know, the only law in that town. So like I said, it's a great movie. It's a super sad ending and a fucked up ending, and like I said, you've got gore, creepy atmosphere, creepy killers, creepy camera angles and shots with the mist. Always, it's like the fog. Always almost the movie The Fog or The Mist. It's like these killers are coming out of the fog. It's good. It's really good. It's really good. And you know the entire town. At some point, you know this with the mom and dad and the kid, and the day after, you see Giles drinking his coffee and looking outside, and he's looking and he's thinking it's weird. There's something weird in the air. It's good. It's good. I can really recommend you Dead and Buried. It's a 1981 flick. Again, 1981, a good year apparently for not only slashers but for horror. Yeah, see ya. Subscribe. I see ya. See you next time. Bye.